Right. So
Nervous,
welcome
but
to Altura Realty Connect. Today we have Victor Echeverria at Goosehead Insurance out in Sanger. Welcome.
I appreciate it. It's fabulous to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. I hope to have you on here more in the future. But today we're getting down to the nitty. We got the insurance, current state of insurance, which loan officers, realtors know there's been a lot of extra fees, extra costs, but mostly because of the fires and what's happened in the previous years. And so, that's really what really want your insight on is just to be able to kind of explain what's going on and then how we can help clients get lower premiums. And then also too, what other parts of your business that maybe we can take advantage of that you can help our loan officers, realtors, and brokers. So
Yeah, of course. No, I appreciate it. You hit the nail on the head. Insurance right now, especially in California and a few other states, it's pretty hard to navigate. We're in what we would call a hard market. So what a hard market brings with insurance is much less competition, a lot less options when it comes to carriers, increased rates, unfortunately, and just a longer tail. I know insurance is something that every home closing does need, and it's typically something that's kind of done the final week or so, but we're seeing underwriters take upwards of 15 days, some even longer with certain carriers to even approve a home. And there's really no cheat sheet or like format for us as agents to know what's going to trigger a manual underwriting requirement from the
yeah,
insurance carrier. So something I've really been preaching a lot is, get in front of insurance as early as possible,
it's a good point.
get down, what the premiums are going to be because rates, as far as I know, pretty much every single insurance carrier has take what we call taken rate, which means they've applied for a rate increase and it's been approved by the Department of Insurance.
Okay.
Um, and we're seeing rates in, depending on the carrier, go from increase from anywhere, I'd say 2.5, 5%, all the way up to 20% with some insurance companies. So you definitely want to kind of stay ahead of that, just so you have an idea on what your monthly is going to be, especially if you want your
Yeah.
insurance to be a part of your home loan.
Can I interject real quick? I have a question.
Yeah.
Specifically when it comes to telling our loan officers get in there early on insurance. Don't wait because like a lot of times before you could wait till like you're 2/3 in order to request an insurance quote. And there's
Right.
a lot of back and forth now, and a lot of people are requesting two, three different carriers. And you're a broker, you work with a lot of different carriers. So is that something you're seeing more too of like trying to get multiple quotes from people, clients that you work with or agencies you work with?
I do get those questions quite a bit. With myself, what my process is, I kind of figure out exactly how much coverage we need for the particular home for the client based on their personal belongings. Once I have the coverage amounts plugged in or dialed in per se, I plug them into my system, and my system kind of kicks back all the carriers and kind of lists them for
Mm,
who's the most affordable to the most expensive. Thankfully, all the insurance carriers I work with are all highly rated, so any carrier we go with, a client's going to be in good hands, which is great. But what I am seeing more of is because I kind of go with my best foot forward, so I'll send the best rate I'm able to find for the coverage. But I am
right.
getting more requests for higher deductibles. So, in California, we typically see $1,000
That's
as
a
kind
question
of
I was
the
going to ask you. Yeah, that makes sense. Could you explain that a little bit? Yeah, explain a little bit more.
yeah. Yeah, of course. So a deductible, very similar to all other types of insurance. It's what the client would pay in case of in case of a repair or if there was a claim that's filed. So let's just, for example, say that there's $10,000 worth of water damage, and you have a $1,000 deductible. The insurance companies, essentially, if everything all goes right, they're going to send you a check for 9,000. You would take care of the 1,000 itself. That's kind of what we've seen be the I would say like the standard
Yeah.
deductible in the past is $1,000, but now we're starting to see requests for 2,500 up to $5,000 per policy, especially if there's any debt to income, just
Yeah.
worries or anything of that nature. Or sometimes, a client has the ability to pay 2,500, $5,000. It's going to bring their annual premium down. So, it's
Less
something I
risk for
do
the
recommend.
insurance company. Less risk. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
less risk for the insurance company. And if you're able to, something I ask is, would you be able to borrow or get together a higher amount for deductible? Because your annual premium, that's a lock. You're gonna
Yeah.
pay that every single year.
Yeah.
The deductible is only in case something happens. So if you're able to, kind of increase it on your end, you know that your for sure costs are going to be lower in the long run.
Yeah. That makes sense. Are you seeing a lot? Are you seeing a lot of new major insurance carriers? Like, I know we've heard some things about State Farm and some other ones that are leaving California. Are you seeing new companies pop up, or what's it look like on your front right there?
So the opposite, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's really no new companies that have come up. Um, Goosehead Insurance, it's the brokerage I franchise through, so they do a great job of supporting the agents of trying to bring on
Yeah.
what we would call, new carriers, but they're not essentially new, they're just new to us.
Mm,
But it's the flip side to where a lot of insurance carriers or companies are just not doing contracts with new agents. They're not bringing on new agents. They're really restricting business. Some to where, you mentioned State Farm. To my knowledge, they are no longer taking any type of residents in
yeah.
California, whether it's a primary or a secondary, just at all. And they're not the only ones. There's a lot of insurance companies out there that have put just complete stops to new business throughout the rest of this year with no real timeline or an idea of when they're going to open back up in the
Gotcha.
future.
Yeah, that has to send that. I mean, that's why the rates are high, but that's going to send shockwaves everywhere. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
No, I appreciate thanks for going in depth on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, of course. And just I would say the biggest tip or the biggest key to avoiding any issues with insurance is just get ahead of it.
Yeah.
If there is a longer tail, or if there's anything that comes up with debt to income, or we need a certain price point, it's much better to kind of get those things ironed out throughout the process versus, hey, we're about to close on Friday, it's
Right.
Tuesday, and oh shoot, we just hit this speed bump, or potentially even
Yeah.
the roadblock if we can't get the coverage in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And for realtors out there and loan officers know this, but for a realtor specifically, if you're writing the maximum debt to income for a client and something comes up like we've seen in the past where we anticipate their insurance being 1,500, but it ends up being 2,500. Well, where's that
Mhm.
extra money going to come from if we're maxed out? And so I think it forces loan officers and realtors to rethink like how much spread are we leaving and how much are we trying to maximize their income. And really it's all to protect the consumer. You don't want to get into contract, be paying all that money and then not be able to produce the loan. And it looks bad on our loan officers and realtors.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, no, thank you, man. So, I know we're running short on time. Next up, what can you do for like out of your business? What type of insurance do you mostly do, or do you do everything? Like, why walk us through?
So here in my agency, I pretty much handle all personal lines of insurance, even commercial, which would be business insurance. The only thing I don't work in is health insurance.
Health
So
insurance.
that's when but I do have some colleagues that's what they dedicate their time to, so I can always kind of point you in the right direction. But
Yeah,
home and auto are probably the two biggest just types of policies that I have within my agency. That also kind of would help out with clients. If you find a carrier that we can bundle the home and auto, that's going to give you a discount on both ends, maybe
yeah,
help out with the debt to income. But also life insurance is another, it's always good to be protected, whether it's a policy to at least cover your funeral costs. If you're the sole provider in the family, it's something that you just need. Not even really a recommendation kind of coming from myself anymore. It's more of it's something that you need
yeah,
in place for your family. And business insurance, that's something that I've been focusing a little bit more on throughout this year. And, thankfully, I have a number of great carriers that are open to business. I've kind of seen that business insurance isn't nearly as restricted as personal lines are. So if you
oh,
have, a building that you're leasing out, if you have a restaurant, a bar, pretty much I'm able to do any type of business except for big transportation. So if you're delivering like 18 wheelers, or if your type of business is long hauling, that's something that is out of my scope. But pretty much anything else I'm able to help out with.
That's super valuable. So for the business insurance, like you're protecting all the way, obviously their inventory or whatever, like
Mhm.
the material or whatever they're working on, right, in their business. But what about like, so would the business insurance cover that if you have a lease, like if something happens, or would that have to, it's a different policy for because it's a property, right? Or how does it work?
Um, So if you're renting out a building, what you would typically need is just the liability coverage, for damage to the rented premises.
Gotcha.
But your landlord should have a policy in place for the building
Makes
itself,
sense.
you
Makes
know.
sense.
So the liability really comes into play if there's just an accident that you caused, within the restaurant or
Yeah.
within the business itself. But usually the landlord should have their own pretty much policy to cover the building. You would cover everything that's inside your business personal property and liability. So if somebody trips and falls and
Yeah.
unfortunately a lawsuit occurs, you have that policy in place
You're
to pay
protected.
for legal fees and judgments and things of that nature.
That's cool, man. It seems like you got a big scope of a business that you can help people out with in your field. It's awesome.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
what else? Anything else you want to add? And if not, where can people find you at? What's your address and where can people locate you?
Yeah, of course. So just for one service I do a lot is are just initial proposals or quotes for a lot of homes. So again, if you're a realtor out there and you just got an offer accepted, here in my office you can send over your clients just some basic information, the home address, of course, and I can at least get kind of a preliminary quote for you, so we can use that with the lender. Again, just staying as
Yeah.
far ahead of it as we can. Number of different ways to get a hold of me online. My website is VRE, so that's V as in Victor, R as in Robert, E as in Echo, insurance.com. Pretty easy. You can go on there and you can see, there's like a quote me now thing.
Yeah.
My Facebook and Instagram are the same handles. I have quick quote links on both of those as well.
Cool. I'm gonna post some links when I post this on YouTube and online, so that way people can reach out to you. But
Awesome.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And if you're a loan officer right now or a realtor, get ahead of it. Listen to Vic. Get ahead of it. Thank
No,
you so much, man.
absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you, brother.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna edit anyway, but that felt pretty
Yeah,
good.